All right, everybody, it's time for you to get out and nominate your favorite podcasts. There's a show I want you to consider for the People's Choice Podcast Awards. Writers and Illustrators of the Future podcast in 3 categories: education, storyteller and drama, and arts. For 5 years and with over 280 weekly episodes and 64 million plus downloads, the Writers and Illustrators of the Future podcast has provided advice and tips from international best-selling authors, world-class artists, contest judges and winners, and industry professionals. It is based on the world-famous Writers of the Future contest created in 1983 by L. Ron Hubbard to help the aspiring writer and artist no matter their age, race, ethnicity, or gender. It is dedicated to the future of storytelling and art by showing that it is never too late to start, and those who make it are those who never give up. We are all busy, but I'd be so grateful if you could take a moment and vote now. Go to podcastawards.com to nominate the Writers and Illustrators of the Future podcast in any or all 3 of the categories: education, storyteller drama, or art.
Hey everybody, good evening and welcome to the show Into the Night with me, your host Sean Kelly. Sunday night. It is August 4th, 2024, and it is hotter than hell out here in Pittsburgh. I don't know what the weather's like where you're at, but man, I tell you what. I mean, it rained the other day and we had 2 solid nights of rain. But you know what? That's not enough, man, because what happens is that after it rains, it gives humidity. So, yeah, it hasn't been very good weather here. Cindy Simpson, welcome to the show. Much love to you too, my friend. Appreciate you coming on. There's a couple announcements that I would like to make. First one is I am on UPRN Talk Radio, 105.3 New Orleans, 107.7 Mississippi. And also, I want to thank Carnation for sponsoring my show tonight and for sponsoring my Tuesday night show. Again, I do have a Tuesday night show, and it is from 8:10 to 9:10 on this same platform right here. But that's basically all the announcements I have. I do know that I'm going to be speaking up at JJ's restaurant up on Mount Washington. It's a diner with me, Drake, and another person. And what we're going to do is we're going to sit down with a bunch of women who are in the coven, and we're going to share our experiences as paranormal investigators. And if you're in the Pittsburgh area, River Rose, good evening, hon. Good to see you. Please come on up to JJ's restaurant in Mount Washington and come in and listen to me and Drake. But I don't know. I just said it's just like kind of a weird day today. But you know what? Can I say that it's paranormal? Well, of course it could be paranormal. And what I mean by that is and I don't know if anybody else has felt this, River, Cindy, anybody else out there, if anybody else felt that it's like the shift is going on out there in the universe. Oh, it is, River. It is, River. In fact, I tell you what, in October I'm going to bring my boys on, um, and we're going to have a paranormal roundtable. But so, has anybody else felt the difference in the universe? It just like weird. San Antonio, Texas. Wow. I bet it's hot down there, hon. Oh, I have a friend from San Antonio too. The Lionsgate portal is opening August 8th, and I really don't know what the Lionsgate portal is. Can you share a little bit on that, Cindy? Um, God only knows there's a lot of portals open up. Well, maybe this Lionsgate is big because I've seen a couple things on TikTok about it, but I don't quite understand it. And I just know that portals do open up, and I know when one opens up and you're around it, man, it's like really, really weird feeling, you know. And so I don't know. I just got to read up more about this and try to figure out what the hell's going on. I mean, I'm not going to bust my chops over, doing the research on this, but it has just been a crazy, crazy month. Last month was crazy, but it just seems like it's getting stronger and stronger. And it's making people feel off kilter, you know. I'm a little off kilter, and there's a lot of people around me that feel a little off kilter. I mean, I work with a guy who's like the most happiest guy in the world all the time. All the time. I mean, you can try to make that boy mad, but you know what? He never gets mad. And lately he's been mad. So I don't know what in the hell's going on. But you know what? Eventually we're going to find out what's going to happen and what's happening now in the world. And River says, absolutely yes. I feel the shift big time. I can't really put it into words. It's as if I am in a huge bubble and waiting for something huge. I sound crazy trying to explain it. It's as if time has lost its meaning, even just sitting in silence. I feel it strong, really strong. And that's how I feel, River. Yes. Cindy says the Lionsgate is a magical alignment time for manifestation. Hey, Steve. Hey, Mr. Wojo. Good to see you, brother. Welcome to the show. But yes, River, that's how I feel, you know. And we might just get over it. Maybe after November 4th or 5th, things will be a lot better. Who knows? But there is just so much negativity out there. And the universe is weird. It really is weird. I've experienced a lot of the different changes in the universe, but not as bad as this one's going on. But everything, as usual, we're Americans. You're from Europe if you're listening to my show over in another country, and we manage to get through this stuff no matter how bad it feels, you know. But we'll see what goes on from there. I want to thank, give a shout out to my friends at Coffee Beans LLC at gmail.com. I was at the Dudas Farm for their Blood Fest, and they were selling their coffees. And I'm telling you what, they got good coffees, and you have to check out that. I got the link down there, running across underneath me. Cindy says, please stay positive and look into the Lion's Gate portal as negative energy wants to try to keep you from manifesting. Okay. I will definitely try to do that. And like I said before, Cindy, I definitely am going to try and look a little bit more into that. Joe Fox, hey, buddy, good to see you. Welcome to the show. It's nice to see everybody popping in tonight. But I want to do a little recap of last July's Sunday shows, and it's about the tarot. I had all I had great guests on who were tarot readers, who are big into the tarot, and I thought, they did an awesome job. I did learn some answers of some of the questions that I thought, that I needed to ask. And I think what I liked about the guests is that they were downright truthful, okay? And they were totally honest with it. It's not like I'm going to bash everybody who ever goes and gets a tarot reading or nothing like that. Eventually, the decisions is yours, and we'll see what's going on. I liked how when they were saying that, especially the readers I had, how they would actually do a reading, and kind of like not use the definition of the cards, but what they actually picked up the energy from the person that they were reading, and when the cards that they would turn over, and kind of give the story there, you know. And I thought it was fascinating because a lot of people out there, and I'll admit, when I first started reading the tarot back in 2000, it was like, yeah, I'm old. But when I started picking up, I used the cards as a crutch. But I never used the definition. I used them as a crutch. And when I would do the readings, I would lay them down thinking that these people wanted to see the cards. And plus, it kind of like helped me um, go with the readings and stuff like that. But then again, I found out that I didn't really need to use the cards, that I needed to learn how to meditate and how to, use my spirit guides. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, they do exist, and you can never tell me anything different. We do have spirit guides. And the number one, hey, Squatch man, good to see you, brother. Good to see you. Thank you for coming on the show. But I had to learn how to trust my instincts, what I saw when I would do the readings. But after a while, I kind of felt bad giving tarot readings, okay? Because, I mean, if somebody would ask me to go to a fair and do readings for them, I had to charge the regular price going, whatever the reading was at that particular establishment. And I felt real bad taking the people's monies. And I'll tell you why. Because spirit, God, Allah, whoever, Buddha, whoever you believe in, I will say, spirit, in this sense for me, gave me a gift to help people, not to take their monies and let me live a comfortable life by taking their monies. Okay. But at the time when I was doing the readings, yes, I was like low on monies, and I just had to survive, so I would take it. But I always felt bad after I would do it, a tarot class or something like that, because I made decent money, and my readings were accurate, but I just didn't like take people's money because I'm here to help people. That gift was given to me to help, and to the guests that were here, okay, sure, they're going to charge you, but they're not the ones that will go out and uh, try to take everything away, take all your monies, or give you a bunch of readings that really don't particularly mean anything to you, you know. They're just going off the top of their head, and it's like, okay, your hour's up or your half hour is up, and you're done. And speaking of tarot readers, there was I think she is deceased by now, but I'm not going to mention her name because I can get in trouble, right? But she was on a afternoon TV program or morning TV program, and someone asked her from the audience and said, "You know what? How much do you charge for a reading?" Now, everybody, please sit down into your seats. Put your seatbelt on. She charged $5,000 for an hour reading. $5,000, and she would only, you know, if somebody didn't want to get a reading from her, the only person she would endorse another reader. He charged $2,500 a reading. Seriously, seriously, come on. If that's not highway robbery, then what the hell is? You know what I mean? It's just so ridiculous to charge so much amount of money. And what made her big and famous is that she wrote books. She wrote books on stuff, on the spirit world and stuff like that. And that's how she became popular. And that's how she became to get on these shows. But none of the people that I had on as my guest were never even come near to what she was. Never. I would never. It's funny if you want to really know what I charged. Okay. Hey, Sebastian, good to see you, hon. Good to see you, buddy. Thank you. It's a great show. Thank you. Let me see. Wojo says I wouldn't put 5,000 to bet on those Steelers, nor would I put $5,000 on them damn Patriots, buddy. My boy Wojo, he's a Bigfoot hunter. He was a guest a couple times on my show, and he's a New England Patriot fan. I mean, I don't even go there. But how I do my readings for people is that I'll ask them, I said, because you have to realize whenever you give out information, you have to actually receive something back. Only if Tom Brady was around. But, so I give you a reading, and in return, you have to give me something back in order to keep the energy moving. Because if I give you a reading and you don't give me nothing back, so the energy's going and it stops. Just like that. It just stops. And that's not good. So if someone would come up and say, I really desperately need a reading, can you give me a reading? And I said, sure. And they said, well, I don't have money. And I look at them and I say, do you got a dime? And I give them a dime. They give me a dime just to give them a reading. Or if they had no money at all, what I used to do was say, okay, I will give you this reading, but you have to do me a favor and you need to help somebody today, like an old lady crossing the street with grocery bags or opening or helping somebody out there. That's how I did it, okay? Because for the life of me, taking everybody's money, that just wasn't cool. That just wasn't cool. But so everybody who is in the chat room tonight, what did you think of our tarot readers, that came on as guests, and talked about the show? I would like to hear from you. Squatch, River, Joe, Cindy, please share. Miss Rojo, if you want. So when it comes down to the tarot, or tarot, however you want to pronounce it, okay? It could be good for some people, and it could be not good for people. It can, there are people out there that actually use a psychic reader in order to make important decisions in their life. Now, if you want my honest opinion on that, I don't like that idea. Tim Vogel, pretty weird stuff. Thank you, Tim. Appreciate it. Welcome to the show. Mr. Wojo, Mr. Vogel's in. Tim, good to see you guys. And Tim Vogel, he was another guest. He's a Bigfoot hunter along with, Boots on the Ground. Your last guest was very interesting. She was very genuine. And yes, she was. Yes. Natasha, she was very genuine and very, very informative. Cindy says, I really enjoyed the guests. They were very informative. Yeah, well, thank you guys for that. Thank you. And I'm sure they're going to hear that when they watch the show. And I truly appreciate that. But, if you need to, but what really surprised me the most was um, when Joe said that you should never receive a gift of tarot from somebody else. It kind of surprised me. Now, I'll tell you what, Joe's been doing that readings for a very, very long time. And when he said giving yourself your own reading, that was kind of crazy too, because I mean, when he explained why, it all made sense. It all made sense. You don't have to, for me, I don't have to give readings for myself. A long time ago, yeah, when I was desperate, sometimes I would try to read myself, but you know what? It never happened because I could never read myself. And I'll tell you why. It's so hard to read yourself when you want to read the cards, because you lay down the cards, but you're so stuck in the situation, like, does this girl like me or does this guy like me? And I want this girl to like me, and I'm going to throw down some cards. And no matter what comes up on the spread, okay, whatever, what comes up, it's not going to be a true spread. And the reason being is because I still have all those spots in my head, in the back of my head. And then when I go and get a reading done from another tarot person, asking the same questions, I'm not paying attention to what the lady is saying to me or the guy who is saying to me, what they're trying to tell me through the reading. I have it so in my head that I want to see a card. I want this tarot reader to come out and tell me, hey, listen, this is the right girl for you, pursue her. But and that never came out. But no matter what reading I got from a reader, I was always trying to manipulate it into the situation that I was going through, not listening to the whole thing. River says, let me bring this up, this a little too bit. So River says, in all honesty, I have never had a personal reading ever since I was little, and a palmist told me my palms are sealed, that they can't read. So I just listen out of fun. I'd been too nervous as to what will be said in person. I have had so many palmists say, sorry, your palms are sealed. So out of fear, I try not to take it so seriously, which is a good idea. And you know what, River, and I'll explain that. There were a lot of readers that I went to that would look at me when I would sit down, and they would give me the money back because they said, I can't read you. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You can't read me. And they actually told me straight to my face, she says, we can't read you. I can't read you. You are totally blocked. And they said, I'm not blocking myself. It is spirit blocking them from reading me. Now, y'all might think that's strange, but it's true, And I believe that when spirit steps in and stops what's going on, then Either two things. I have to look for the answers myself, or I'm not supposed to give you an answer. And River says, yep. And that is a bit spooky to me to be told that, Sean. Yeah, it is spooky. It was spooky for me for a long time. But I just accepted it because I believed that there were things that my spirit people didn't want to know. Maybe they were trying to um, avoid me releasing energy to the reader. I don't know what was happening. But, after about the sixth or seventh one, I just said, okay, to hell with it. I won't. And I never got a reading after that. You know, they tried. People have tried, but they just couldn't get through. You can consider that a good deal, or you can consider that a bad deal. But I've learned through all the years with the spirit world, through the metaphysical, through through the pendulums and the rods, the dowsing rods. I mean, they're just not going to answer, and that's okay. You know. Cindy Simpson says, I have to ask my guides to lift my shield for readings. Okay. Um, and do they, Cindy? Do they lift the shields? Because I have tried many a times to ask, I have asked them many a times if they would lift mine, and they never did, and they never would. You know? And even to this day, for some ungodly reason, they still don't. You know? I'm a real hard man to crack, you know. I don't know what it is, but I've accepted it mostly. Okay, but so it boils down to, if you definitely need one, if you think you need one, go for it and get it done. And if you don't get the answer that you seek, please wait a while before you go to another reader. Um, and always, always, always do your research on the readers that are out there too, because a lot of them, you know, are fakes. You know, they're all fakes. There's a lot of fakes out there. So seriously, do your research. How I would suggest, if you want to go look for a good Sean, maybe the knowledge you have is too much for the reader to handle. Oh wow, I've never heard of that. That's interesting, Cindy. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. I guess that's what I wanted to say, Cindy, to be honest with everybody. Cindy Simpson says, Sean, maybe the knowledge you have is too much for the reader to handle. And Cindy, I didn't want to feel egotistical on here, but you hit the nail right on the head. I truly believe that. I don't like being egotistical because I am no better than you, River. I mean, we're all equal in the world. That's the way I look at life. Um, like I said before, go get your reading and wait. Do your research and then go for it again. And when you do go, please go have an open mind about it. Go have an open mind about the reading that you get. If you don't know where to turn to, please go to like a metaphysical store and sit down and ask questions. Um, and usually they help you out. You know what I mean? They help you out. Okay. Cindy goes, stay protected, my friend. You too, hon. You stay protected. All right. River says, Sean, there is a scripture in the Bible on readings that are sealed. People who can't be read are definitely sealed by spirit for the future. It states that it's sealed for a higher purpose, and only spirit knows that's reason. Oh my God. Wow. Thank you for sharing that, River. Thank you for sharing that. Maybe I need to meditate on this stuff. I don't know, but that's pretty interesting what Cindy said and what River said. Let me repeat what River said, okay? She says, Sean, there is a scripture in the Bible on the readings that are sealed. people who can't be read are definitely sealed by spirit. For the future, it states that it's sealed for a higher purpose, and only spirit knows that reason. Thank you for sharing that. So we're coming up 30-minute mark. I'm going to go and take 1 minute and 10-second break. Please continue to stick around for the show. When we come back, we're going to talk about the month of August and some of the cryptids we'll be talking about. So just hold on for a minute, go to the bathroom, have a cigarette, do what you got to do, and we will see you in 1 minute and 10 seconds.
News on the flip side. It's time for you to get out and nominate your favorite podcast. There's an amazing show I want you to consider for the People's Choice Podcast Awards. The News on the Flip Side, in the category of politics and news. News on the Flip Side is a much different news and political program, which is not deemed as opinion news. Listen as anchor host Joe Montaldo brings you just the facts from trusted sources, which will allow you, the people, to make up your own minds on the various stories being reported on. Go to podcastawards.com to nominate the News on the Flip Side in the category of news and politics. That's podcastawards.com. Please take a moment and vote now.
So, welcome everybody back to the second half of the show, Into the Night with me, Sean Kelly. I am on UPRN Talk Radio, 105.3 New Orleans, 107.7 Mississippi. I also want to thank Carnation for sponsoring my show for tonight and for my Tuesday night show. And my Tuesday night shows from 8:10 to 9:10 p.m. on UPRN Talk Radio. I want to thank everybody who has came into the chat room tonight. It's good to see my favorite people in there. And everybody out there in the whole world, right? Because we do broadcast to 200 different countries every night of the week. And so everybody in those countries, I want to thank you for tuning into my show tonight. I truly appreciate it. So we just, for the first half hour, we recapped the tarot shows that were in July. And I think I'm going to do it around November, December. I'm not sure. I'll bring them in again. But I want to talk about August now. Okay. Now, in July, I had, Bigfoot investigators on all month. And then in the month of August, okay, I want to bring in cryptid investigators. And what I mean by cryptids, there's a lot of them. Oh my God, there's a ton of cryptids. And I believe them, I believe that there are ghosts, there are Bigfoot, right? And then you have the Chuparaga, which is down, it's down there in Mexico, and it means the goat suckers. And I've heard and read a lot about the Chuparagas. And I've seen some videos in which people have actually took video of the Chuparaga. To me, it was a bald dog, chasing after something. I'm not very sure about it. But this is what the whole month of August is going to be about. Really looking and deep diving into these cryptids. And, whoever is a cryptid hunter or a huntress, okay, or have a group, a cryptid hunting group, feel free, please get in contact with me at the Pittsburgh Paranormal Society Facebook page, and I can get you on the show, and then we can talk about it. There's one here in South Carolina. It's called the Lizard Man of Scape or Swamp. Is there anybody here from South Carolina in the chat rooms? If you are, have you ever heard of the Lizard Man of the Scape One Swamp? And it's in South Carolina. There's also another name for it. It's called the Lizard Man of Lee County. Interesting, huh? But like I said, there's a whole list of them, and I'm not going to go through them. But I think it would be a very, very interesting show that, we can talk about them, because you really don't see a lot of people talking about the cryptids, you know what I mean? And also with the cryptids, you can actually put Bigfoot into that. And so I guess we did talk about the Bigfoot. But now these are all sort of different animals, okay? Another one is the Jersey Devil in New Jersey. Now, I heard about the Jersey Devil, okay? And it's not the New Jersey Devils of the hockey, the NHL hockey. But I've heard a lot of stories about how people have seen the devil. And I do believe it's in the Bridgewater Triangle. Wojo, if you're on, am I correct? It's in the Bridgewater, or are they in some kind of woods up there? And a lot of people have not seen it, okay, but they claim they have heard it. And this month, I'm going to have Richie B back on again, and Mr. Wojo, and we're going to talk about the Bridgewater Triangle. 4 months ago, no, I'm sorry, about 3 or 4 years ago, we did a show on Chasing Prophecy, me and Jenny, and we talked to a guy who wrote a book on the Bridgewater Triangle, and it was very, very interesting. Now, see, at that time, Chasing Prophecy was a 2-hour show, so we actually got to really sit down and do a really cool interview with the guy. But I want to talk about it again with people who actually live near there and see what they come with. I mean, a lot of people are saying there's a ton of orbs in there, and there's a lot of ghostly actions that happen in there. And you can hear Native American drums going at it. And I think it would be a very interesting show. I do believe maybe next year or the year after that, I'm going to head on up there, and I'm going to visit my friends up there, and they'll take me to the Bridgewater Triangle. And I'm really looking forward to that. Maybe I'll shoot some video there and talk to you about it. But I'm really looking forward to that. And everyone knows the famous Mothman, okay? And why I want to bring the Mothman to, it's a winged man, bird man, UFO, bird, Mason, bird, monster. And it's in Mason County, West Virginia. Now, there's a story behind that about the Mothman, and I'm not here to knock anybody's belief systems, because I'm not. If you believe in the Mothman, that's great. Mr. Wojo says, I can't wait for you to come over. I can't wait either, brother. And the way the world goes now at my age, it goes so damn fast. Before I know it, I'll be there quickly. But the Mothman, I saw another story on the Mothman, and it was on some kind of, I don't want to say YouTube, but on another channel of some sort. And they were definitely saying that at the time that the Mothman was, when people spotted the Mothman, down in, what is that, Mason County, West Virginia, there was some shenanigans going on down there. And they were doing something that they were not supposed to do. Okay. I really don't want to get into the story now because we got about, 10 minutes left. But I want to find somebody about the Mothman, but I also want to find somebody also about the shenanigans that happened down there in Mason County. And you know, do I think the Mothmans exist? Well, I hear it from everybody, and if you believe it, yeah. But I'm kind of like on the fence about that because I heard this other story. I believe at the time that this was taken, when the Mothman was around, they kind of like made up the story so it would scare the hell away, scare people from not going into Mason County. And that's how I feel. People say they don't believe in ghosts. Okay, and that's okay with them. Do I believe in the Mothman? I believe in what people tell me when it comes to anything with entities or paranormal or cryptids, stuff like that. I believe what they have to say. And, I respect their belief systems. You have to respect the belief, you know. But I think there's some other shenanigans going on. A little bit of tomfoolery happening down there at the time that the Mothman was present. And then you got, okay, everybody, paranormal investigators. Okay, now this blew me away when I read this today. And believe it or not, I just read it. Have you ever gone out on an investigation and you have taken pictures outside and you actually get pictures of rods, solid rods, or squiggly lines like that in your pictures? If you are a ghost hunter, go back and look at your pictures when you did an outside investigation. And if you have those rods, the squigglies, we call, the main word is called rods, but you know what? I call them squigglies. Okay, because they look like squigglies. But as I downloaded this, I looked at and it's a cryptid. It's a cryptid. They're called rod or a skyfish, air rod, a solar entity. Hey, Michelle, good to see you. Welcome for coming in. And what the description is, it's a small flying stick like creatures, and it's worldwide. So all those investigations that I did at cemeteries, all those investigations that, I was in parks or, um, at the mills in Gettysburg and stuff like that. Um, and I seen these rods. Could they be cryptids? That would be freaking interesting. If you want some homework to do, guys, tonight or until next Sunday or Tuesday, whenever you find it, Google skyfish and solar entities and see what the conclusion that you come up with on that. But it's a small flying stick like creature. And they show pictures of here. There's a picture of it. And they look exactly like the pictures that we got when we were outside, shooting outside. It's craziness. So, do the solar entities, or the small flying sticks, or the skyfish, do they come along for the ride to make their presence known? Probably. And so, what I'm definitely going to do is really, really research that, because I tell you what, if that is true, that'd be crazy. But paranormal investigators kind of know what I'm talking about when they take those pictures and they get those rods. I mean, I have pictures of them, but I really don't know how to share them to you guys. I really don't. And I'm going to have to get somebody to teach me how to do that. But when I learn about it, if I learn about it this month, then maybe on a Sunday or something like that, I'll show you the pictures of what I'm talking about. Yeah, so I think it's like really, really cool. The skyfish. And then the last one that's really big around here is the thunderbirds, the thunderbird. And I have had friends that actually have seen the thunderbird. And if you go and tell somebody, because I've seen them, but a lot of people come back and say all they are vultures, because the vultures are huge. Okay, I forget what kind they are, but they're huge, and they have a wingspan on them, just like the thunderbird has. But in my heart, and in what I feel when I see one, they're not vultures. They're really thunderbirds. And what's crazy about that, they're not just out in the country or out in the woods or out in the forest like that. They're in the city. They're you can see them here on where I live. These big, huge, flying pterodactyl looking things. And if you think they're a blue heron, you'll think, no, it can't be, because I'm not around water, and there are definitely no blue herons hanging around where I live. So, but we're going to talk more about that, about the thunderbirds. I'm really excited about this month because you also, you talk about what werewolves, and you're talking about it could be vampires or dogmen, all kinds of stories. And the stories I hear from the Appalachian Mountains, that turkey vultures. Thank Joe. Thank you, Joe. Turkey vultures. Steven says, my brother has seen one in the Bridgewater Triangle. Also wisp. Yes, Lojo, they are extremely loud, man. River says, I have seen thunderbirds in Orange County, New York, and in Warwick, New York. So they exist, you know. But trying to get them as evidence is kind of hard because they usually come out at night. But I'm looking forward to this month. We're going to have so much fun with it, you know. Um, and then, also what I plan on having on this month. And if anybody knows, maybe I'd get you on, River. Um, I want to talk about my cousin. He works for a TV, and he works on a popular show, and he also writes his own shows, and he writes his own productions. And I have another cousin that does the same thing. What I'd like to do is get these young kids and River, if she wants to come on, and talk about the writings and the videos and how they got started. I'm sure people would be interested in that. I know my one cousin up in New York. He does horror. He does horror films, his own video and stuff like that. And he told me, I talked to him last week, and I asked him to come on his show, and he's like, hell yeah, he'll come on. But that's also what I want to do, because I got my Sunday nights and I got my Tuesday nights. The Tuesday nights basically are going to be about um, the cryptids, and Sunday night, hopefully. River says, I would love to, Sean. Just let me know when. Great, girl. All righty. I will get a hold of you soon. Okay. I'll see my really good friend River Rose. I know she's writing the book, and I'm sure she's okay. What's the name of your book you're writing, River? If you want to share it, you can. And then we'll have her on, and then we can share it with the rest of y'all. So when it comes out, you can buy like 100 copies, you know. But not only is this show just to, introduce people and what they do, it also helps them get known. And that's what I want to do, help people get known with their work. And we can go from there, because it definitely works. Oh, rivers were okay. Here it is. Everybody, write this down. It is called Into the Fires of Redemption. That's the name of her book. So I'll probably have River on soon, and we can talk about her book, what her stories are all about. You know, her book is about, and I'd just like to get more. Well, I've had her on before doing a paranormal show, and she's good. She's a good guest. She's a good person. She's a real good person. But you know what, ladies and gentlemen, it's that time. It is like 9:01, and it's time for me to end the show. I hope you enjoyed the show tonight. I hope you learned a lot from the month of July with all the tarot readers, and I really, really hope that you learned a lot about Bigfoot. You're welcome, Rose. You're welcome. About my friends, Bigfoot hunters, the Vogel brothers, Wojo and Richie B, Bill Rigby, you know what I mean? Michelle says, I was watching on another device. I couldn't comment, so I've been watching for a while. I'm glad you have been, Michelle. Thank you for watching. My guess, I'm glad that you guys had a good month of July. And don't worry, they will all be back again soon. Okay? So, on that note, children, if you can, please go to your parents, give them a hug, and tell them that you love them. And parents, please go to your children, give them a hug, and tell them that you love them. And if you don't have no children, if you don't have no parents, find somebody you know, give them a hug, and tell you that you love them. Because those 3 words, I love you, go a long way. And on that note, everybody, have a safe week. See you Tuesday night, and happy hunting.